You didn't really know Carlos before this year, right? Carlos Mendoza. You managed what 12 years in the American League. What were the type of things you helped him with and he leaned on you for?
You know what, Jay? He's a sharp guy, man. He's on the ball, every manager uses their bench coach differently. What we did basically, we as the game was rolling along, different situations. He might bounce something off me, or we might be talking about the pitcher in the game and said, thinking about this, thinking about that. What do you think? Mostly those kind of things, and a lot of the pitching decisions. He worked closely with the pitching coach Jeremy Hefner, who does a really good job. So it was a lot of in game decisions, and I was more of a sounding board. It's kind of like a security blanket there at the beginning, and I tell you what, for a first year manager doing it in New York City, big market like that, he did a tremendous job. He really did.
Jay Horowitz, another edition of Amazing Conversations with Mr. John Gibbons, somebody I've known for 44 years. Let me create the conversation. June of 1980. Hi, this is Jay. I want to welcome you to the Mets family. You've been drafted in the first round. Best of luck. It was you, Strawberry Billy Bean. So was my conversation pretty much like that, Gibby?
Yeah, oh yeah, short and sweet, man. Yeah, and you wish me luck, and you didn't wish me enough luck.
Yeah, of course. 2 years later, 2 years later, you hurt your leg and whatever. But let me ask you this: how was you didn't really know first year as a bench coach? Great year, 96 wins, 2 games, and close to the World Series. You didn't really know Carlos before this year, right? Carlos Mendoza.
Yeah, no, you know what, Jay? I think I met him in 2018 was his first year as a Yankee bench coach.
Right.
And I was still in Toronto at the time, and I think I met him. But after that, I didn't know him at all. It's funny how he got in touch with me. My old bench coach, DeMarlo Hale, called me one day. This was a few weeks after, Carlos got the job, and said, "Can I give him your number?" I said, "Perfect, I'd love to." And then Kevin Cash down there, Tampa's manager, he did the same thing, and so we talked, we hit it off, and then one thing led to another, and you could tell right away, and I think we had a pretty good connection, obviously, and here we are. Here I am, anyway.
Gibby, how does it? I mean, what are the type of things? We're not getting specific type of things. You managed what 12 years in the American League. What were the type of things you helped him with and he leaned on you for? Again, not specific, general kind of stuff.
You know what, Jay? He's a sharp guy, man. He's on the ball, every manager uses their bench coach differently. What we did basically, we as the game was rolling along, different situations. He might bounce something off me, or we might be talking about the pitcher in the game and said, thinking about this, thinking about that. What do you think? Mostly those kind of things, and a lot of the pitching decisions. He worked closely with the pitching coach Jeremy Hefner, who does a really good job. So it was a lot of in game decisions, and I was more of a sounding board. It's kind of like a security blanket there at the beginning, and I tell you what, for a first year manager doing it in New York City, big market like that, he did a tremendous job. He really did.
Gibby, so you start off the year 0-5. What are you thinking? Are we ever going to win a game? And then you go to 22-33, and you wind up with 96 wins. To you, somebody who was on the bench in the clubhouse on the plane, what was the main reason for such a turnabout?
Well, Jay, I mean, you look at it. I mean, there's a lot of talent on that team. I mean, a couple years before that, he won 100 games, so there wasn't a lack of talent to a certain extent. But we weren't hitting it all early on. That was a big thing. For the most part, our bullpen was kind of saving us, if I remember correctly. And then eventually our starting rotation kicked it in gear. We had some tremendous years there, and then our starting lineup, everything started clicking with them too, and we started hitting and pounding the baseball, which we were supposed to do. And so it really all came together. But the key was, the guys just stayed steady. There was no panic. Even after the previous year where they really struggled, nobody panicked and everybody kind of hung together. And there was a couple of dust ups. Remember when Lopez throwing his glove into the stands, and then there was a couple moves made. Iglesias came came up and did an unbelievable job. You can remember Lindor. I mean, that first month of the year, I mean, he
He's
was getting
batting a buck
booed.
50, or something like
Yeah,
that.
and then all of a sudden it was like boom. So a lot of good things happened, but I think a big part of it was a couple of the additions. Plus, Carlos stayed steady. He didn't panic. Especially his first year, and
Gibby,
the
you
guys
you
fed
you
off
can
that.
get to me. What I liked about him is an old PR guy. When we won, he wasn't too high. When we lost, he wasn't too low. He struck a medium balance, and when some of the guys made a mistake, he found a way of criticizing them without harping on it. It was a plight. We should have done that. I mean, I thought he really struck him, especially in this market. I thought he struck a real middle chord on how to act in a big market like New York. Don't you think? I mean.
Yeah, Jay, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, he had his way of getting his point across without burying anybody or without
Exactly, that's
hammering
what I
them.
meant to you. That's what I meant
Yeah,
to yeah,
but he's still there's some guys out there they'll protect these guys to the end, and it ends up costing them. But because when things aren't good, they're not good. You can't just say everything's great all the time. But there's a subtle way that he did it. I think was masterful.
give me in all your years in baseball, did you ever think you would see a full-blown concert with guys in uniform on the infield? Did you ever when the whole
No,
team singing, "Oh my God." Did you ever in all your years, did you ever think you would see anything like that before?
no, gosh, man, no, and you probably never will. Who on that '86 team, Jay, would have done something like that? Anybody?
Uh,
If you had to pick one,
maybe Robin might have, Ventura might have, I mean.
overturn it.
But I mean, in the 2000 team, Robin, we had "L.A. Woman" by The Doors, and I thought the song with Iglesias was a rallying point with the OMG sign. It was great, good for camaraderie.
Oh yeah, it did something. And I tell you what, I mentioned earlier when he showed up, he really unified us even before his song came on, and then we started rolling, and that just became our thing. And the kids may I think he's going to parlay that into a second career, man.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, speaking of '86, John, I know you got hurt in '84, but you up for '84 and '86. How cool was it with you this year to see two of your former teammates, Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden, get their number retired, and come say hello, and how cool of an experience was that for you?
Hey, you know what, Jay? Yeah, you know what? I was always fond of both those guys. I really was. We all got drafted about the same time, and you saw their success, and everybody saw the struggles that they had, right? And so there's a lot of sympathy there, but they hung in there. I think they got their due by getting honored, putting where in the Hall of Fame there, and because really, if you think about it, couldn't have two better guys. They battled a lot. They've had their ups and downs,
Yeah, and,
but
and,
they're two
and they're
genuine
doing the right
guys.
thing now too, John. Both guys are. So I know
Yes.
you got hurt in '86. You weren't able to participate. We quit bullpens. Do you remember the excitement and the '86 at Shea? Could you compare it to the electricity of the Dodger and Philly series this year at City Field? Because in all my years, I've never seen City Field like it was during a playoff run.
Yeah, you know what, Jay? I mean, there was so much alike. The only difference was during those ones I was down the bullpen, so you didn't. I don't think you quite got the full effect. This year I was down in the dugout. So you're right in the middle of it all. And hey, New York fans, man, they're as passionate as they come. There's no more emotional fans out there in the world. And so when good things are happening, man, they let you know, and it's an intimidating place. If you're on one of the other teams.
Yeah, it could be anyway in baseball. Lindor's not just gonna. The MVP is gonna come out next week. Lindor's not gonna win. Show it's Tony's gonna win. But you ever seen a guy get so many big hits? Just want to remember with a couple of them. And forgive me. Uh, in Toronto, we're getting no hit, and he hits a home run in the seventh or eighth inning. We go on to win the game. Remember that game
Oh
specifically?
yeah, yeah. I don't think there was a bigger one because of the where we were in the season and in the magnitude of yeah, we're getting no hit. I mean, we're not sniffing this guy. But you know what? Jay, I've never seen anything like it. I had Donaldson in Toronto when he won the MVP of the American League in 2015. In very similar years, he didn't miss when you needed something big. It just happened. With Lindy, after a slow start. I even told him one day because I'd seen him from when he was playing in Cleveland years ago. I told him, I said, I knew you were good. I didn't know you were this good
I mean,
because
it's just a shame. I mean, the cool way to say the words are constructed, guy goes 50-50. But I mean, so we're in Atlanta. We take the lead in the eighth inning. They come back and go ahead. Ninth inning, Lindor hits a 2-run homer.
oh yeah, I mean, you can just go on and on about the different, all the times that he stepped up when you needed it. You know what's impressive about him, Jay, is he plays every game, every
Right.
inning. He's out there early working on his defense, taking bad practice. I've never seen that before where they go out there every day and with a big old smile on his face, even through the tough times early in the season. It was the same guy. And as far as the MVP, when Otani, he's going to be in the running every year, especially when he starts pitching again. But to me, an MVP, I think maybe that I have an MVP DH, because if a guy's got to play the field, I think it gives so much more to a team than a guy that's just a DH. So, the worst part of it all, he didn't even make the All-Star team.
The other thing too, I know he does a lot of charity work, and he didn't get the Roberto Clemente Award, which being from Puerto Rico, I know was important to him. I mean, hopefully next year he can cash in on both awards. Two more games, Gibby. I want to go with you. Milwaukee, the ninth inning, we're losing 2-0. Looks like the season's over again. Out of nowhere, first and second, Big P comes up. We're ahead 3-2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's funny, Jay. There was a few times there in the last few weeks, and it goes back even that when we clinched there in Atlanta, we won that first game. We came from behind. I said to Carlos, we look at each other. I said, "Hey, we got him right where we want him," And we said that, we're down in our last 3 outs of the season against Milwaukee, and they got one of the best closers in the game. And sure enough, Big Pete stepped up, and he went on to hit some big ones, in the postseason. Now he's a free agent. Hopefully he comes back. But yeah,
Yeah.
there was something magic about that team. That team, you don't always see that, but too many good things happen, And Jay, I don't think I've been around a team ever that had this many good guys that got along so
Yeah,
well
it's
together, and there was never any problems.
you know what? Without this team, which it just reminds me. So the '86 series, bottom of the 10th, the Mets lose 5-3. Uh, they had 2 outs and 2 strikes on Gary Carter, and they had the shot of Mel and Davey sitting together forlornly in the dugout. I remember I was in a clubhouse trying to explain how a team that went 114 games lost. We were hated. I don't know if you remember all the fights we got into.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was a crazy team, but it was crazy. With like you said, we got them just where we want them, and the '86 Mets had them just where they want them. Then when
that's
what do you
right.
remember about Mookie's ground ball, John?
Gosh, well, I was down there in the bullpen and I was warming up, and I think it was Doc that was warming up, in case they stayed tied and went extra innings, right?
Yeah, he
And
told me. He told me he asked to go into the game because his World Series appearances, if you remember, weren't great that year. And he wanted
right,
to kind of make amends, but he never got the chance because
yeah. See,
was
so it was Doc. So I'm catching, and we got all these horses in the bullpen, the mounted police ready to storm the field for crowd control, right? And so I'd catch a ball, and it would crack my mitt, and these horses would all jump and make noises. And then there was that plexiglass here, so I'd catch a ball and I'd look around trying to see what was going on in the field. So I didn't actually see when it all happened. I've seen it, I don't know how many times,
yeah,
replay. But you know what? Like you said, you got them right where you want them. That team was meant to win. I mean, that team, they were the best team in baseball. There's no
yeah.
question
Yeah.
about it. And sometimes, the baseball gods, they smile at you.
John, do you take any break off from the game? I mean, the studying, you had to, went from early February to almost November. Do you take a break, or when do you start doing conference calls with Carlos? I mean, getting ready to go down to spring training. I mean, when do you start doing that stuff?
Well, Jay, yeah, everybody's, that's such a long season too, especially getting the playoffs nowadays. You got so many rounds. Everybody just kind of decompresses, and we got a Zoom call coming up this week. Everybody's just going to see how everybody's doing, and then, I don't know what the plan is this year. Last year was a New Year's, so we treated things differently. This year, I don't know how much contact we'll make that way, but everybody needs to get away from it. It's such a long year, and it's a
And it's
grind.
great. All the coaches are coming back, which is good for continuity, right? Instead of all the
Yeah.
changes in the staff, everybody be back, so you know each other, and John, you think the pressure would be, team won 96 game last year. Atlanta's going to be better. Washington's going to be better. I mean, it's difficult to get back there, right? You just gotta, keep improving and keep adding players.
Yeah, but you want expectations. That means the baseball world thinks highly of you. And I know we have a number of free agents this year, and so David, Stearns has got to fill out the roster, and but there's some pretty good ones out there. Wouldn't be surprised if they bring some of them over to us. And I mean, we should have a heck of a team next year. And yeah, pressure always rises when you in expectations when you win something, and but we welcome that.
Yeah, Johnny, I forgot to ask you did manage your interleague play, but was it tough adjustment for you being in the National League the whole time this year? You hadn't been there for a while. But you had some interleague games. Was it hard to adjust getting to know all the rosters? Being in the National League for the first time in a long time, really the only time.
Yeah, it's definitely different. And plus, I've been out of the game a couple of years anyway, so there was a lot of new players that I didn't know, and yeah, that's always an adjustment. And the game's so different now, Jay, with all the analytics and all the info out there, and it can be overwhelming at times. But it really gets back down to the same basic baseball. You go out and play better than they do, you're probably going to win.
You didn't get to on vacation any place, John?
Yeah, I'm heading out to Yellowstone at the end of the week with my wife. She's a wildlife photographer, and I'll drive her around. She shoots bears, not shoots them with a camera.
God, I hope she doesn't shoot him, John. Jesus, we have the anti-animal league get after us. That's not a good thing. How long are we going to be in Yellowstone for?
About 10 days.
Do you have hotel? You stay, you camp out, or what do you do there? I mean,
Yeah, we stay at a little hotel right outside the park and drive around the park all day. Hey, if you've never been, I recommend you go.
really? How long has she been being a photographer, John? A long
Yeah, she
time.
took it up a few years ago as a hobby, and she's really, really good. And that's kind of our outlet. We used to be beach people. We like going to the beach. Now we go to the mountains out there, Jay.
Yeah, John, let me just go back to the series in LA. After we took the lead in the first inning of six, I thought it'd be another miracle, but it's a lot of good memories, a lot of comfort behind wins. I always forgot to talk about the Philadelphia game. Losing 1-0, Lindor hits a grand slam. It's really
That's right.
crazy what this guy did. Crazy.
Oh, Jay, I mean, really, it's hard to probably in history finding a better year. I don't know. They don't recognize clutch anymore these days, but he was as clutch as anybody's probably ever been. And when you needed something done, he got it done. And there's no question in my mind. I'm a little biased, but he's the MVP. And we know in our hearts anyway, regardless of how they vote on it.
Yeah, well, hey, Johnny, been a good friend a long time. So like we keep saying, we do these things. Billy Bean going to have a movie named after him. Darryl had his number retired, and you made a nice niche as a manager and a bench coach. And hopefully next year we get, But I tell the people, you did get a ring in '86, right? You got a ring in '86. You wear it all, John, or no?
No, no, no. And then I got a ring with the Atlanta Braves, and when they won it a few years ago, I was scouting for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah. So
great. Listen, hopefully we get another one next year. And, thanks for the time. Been a good friend all these years. And I look forward to seeing you in the spring, Gibby.
Jay, you're the best, man. Take care of yourself,
Thanks for
pal.
your time, John. Be well, huh?
Okay.